and love myself, and you give power and influence to the wrong people, look how it turns out. You have to hype yourself up and nobody else on the external side that you up. You have Hello and welcome back to Ascension with V. I am your host, Stacia Jeanette, aka V, and today I'm going to talk about something just very quick. I'm sure it's going to be a very short podcast episode just because it's just a brief topic, and that is of me currently working through the poverty mindset releasing, and really in a nutshell, just self-worth. And I think that looks different for a lot of people, but for me, this has been a hurdle that I thought that I had overcome to a degree, to a degree, a lot more than what I than what I had. So I recently went through an experience where I had to state my prices for something, and up until this point, so I would say up until that last week's point, I had been very meek when it came to talking about my money, talking about my prices, even though like if people go to my booking page, I forgot what it's called, but my booking page, like whether it's on my Instagram or whether it's on my actual website, you can plainly see what it costs to have a session with me, an hour session with me, just to cover general things, general guidance, general advising on whatever it may be, right? And I have now created a new sector of like business advising, general business advising, much like in the ancient Asian empires. There was always a spiritual advisor that held a seat in the imperial palace to guide the emperor on his decisions. There was a seat that was held for the spiritual advisor, right? So I'm mixing into this new phase of my development, this new phase of my business, this new phase of who I am. And I've mentioned this before, of where as you grow, as you continue to level up, as you continue to experience these evolving moments, these shifts in your consciousness, in your frequency, in your vibration, your business grows with you, right? Or it should. But I think there's a thing of where a lot of people want to hold themselves back and kind of still contain themselves in like the too small fitting shell that they created, well before they became who they are now, or well before they went through whatever it was that they went through that evolved them to the version that they are now. And that's not good. It really does stunt your growth, so to speak, when you don't allow your business to grow as well. And I can vouch for how frustrating this can be, because it requires you to go to your website and refresh things. Go to your website and take things down and delete this and rewrite this and rebuild this. It's a lot of take down and rebuild, take down and rebuild, take down and rebuild, right? Because that's what's happening with you in your journey, or it should be, but it is difficult. And the difficulty that I have been experiencing is this thinking that I'm too much, right? That what I'm asking for in return for my energy, the benefits that come with me and my services, what it is that I am able to do. And I've seen it. Like, it's not like I'm out here just spewing shit. Like I literally, over the last 2.5 years, have had numerous people who have worked with me, and I've seen the changes. And even the people who have not officially worked with me, but have just been in close contact with me for some time, I've seen the shifts and the evolution and the change and the growth that comes with being closely associated with me and working with me. And like, that's no arrogance. That's no like greater than type of situation, but that's the legitimate facts of it. But it for whatever reason, it was really difficult for me to get over the hurdle of the like, oh, you shouldn't be charging for your spiritual gifts and abilities. That should be free. Oh, that's something that you should be doing for free. Oh, well, you should just be, standing out on the sidewalk and being like, come here and take everything from me, right? For the remainder of your days. Why would you ask for money for the things that you're doing? And I mentioned this in my recognizing patterns. I think that was the podcast that I did when I had just gotten out of the hospital from essentially doing just that for so long because I had just been giving and giving and giving. And I had like my nobody was pouring into my cup, nobody was giving back to me. It wasn't an equal energetic exchange in any way, whether monetarily or energetically. Like there was no equal exchange for the time and energy that was going out. So it left me depleted and in danger zone, and it affected my health as a result. Right, so after that aha moment of me having the realization, I was like, "Well, shit, something's gotta something has got to change here." And it came down to knowing my worth, knowing what it was that I was doing to myself when I don't stand firm and set boundaries, number 1, when I don't set boundaries for the things that I'm asking for, the things that I deserve, but then you get to that hurdle there, deserve. And I realized that that was a block that I had in my mind as well because, again, thinking like, "Oh, I don't deserve, to be paid what I should be getting paid for what it is that I do, what it is that I bring to the table, what it is that I'm capable of, my abilities, my gifts, my services, the blessing and gift and privilege that I am to people in their lives." Couldn't do it. Couldn't do it, and where did that come from? Where did that come from? So that was a whole rabbit hole that I had to end up going down myself over the last couple of months is what happened? How did we get here? How did I end up on the side of the tracks where I think so very little of myself, or I thought so very little of myself, right? I'm asking myself these very painful, very uncomfortable questions to really try to unearth and get to the root of this situation that I've created in my mind for my life, for myself. And the end result was that of it's limiting beliefs. A lot of that is handed down, a lot of that's generational, a lot of that is religious. And even though like I've not set foot into a church since I was like in my teens, early teens, 13, 14 years old type age frame, the instillments are still there. They're still present. The limiting beliefs, the oppression, the mindset of thinking, charging for what it is that you do. And not only that, but going back to like hiding what it is that you do because, oh no, people are going to think the worst. People are immediately going to, come at you with the pitchforks and the torches and try to burn you at the stake. Like people are going to assume that it's something negative or it's something that's associated with evil or it's something that's this, that, and the third. And like all of that was concocted for a lot of people to have these fears of not just getting paid for what they do or what they are, but like being afraid of accepting their greatness and their abilities and all that they have to offer. Like that's a huge hurdle to get over. So I found myself like very quickly. And I don't know how it came up on me really fast like it did, but it really did kind of it's almost like when you have these people like to use, and I'm tired of hearing it thrown around so frequently, it's like when you have this quantum leap in timelines, or whatever trendy thing that they say about it. But essentially, when you have experienced a hop in your energy, your frequency, your vibration from work that you've done very quickly. And you end up being on a much higher timeline than what you were previously, like weeks ago or just a month or so ago. They call that like one of those quantum leaps, like a really fast shift. Sometimes people experience it like when they've already gotten to a high timeline, but not their highest timeline. If their highest timeline is that they're like a celebrity or it's that they're well known, globally well known, or whatever the case may be, or that they've got all of these things and people will perceive it as happening as like overnight. Sometimes that's because they were already on like the timeline that was closest to that and they did enough work to access that highest timeline, and it happened just in a short amount of time. I had one of those mini type situations of exactly that recently, and I was just like I said, because I went down that rabbit hole of in my mind, and I'm like, "No, no, we're gonna chisel away at this now. We're gonna excavate this now. We're gonna go ahead and get this out of here." And I was in there, in my mind, in my heart, in my soul, in my inner child, like drilling away at all the shit that didn't need to be there anymore and trying to get rid of all these limiting beliefs and really trying to fill myself with good, loving thoughts and energy and all the things. It jumped me. And I landed where I was faced really quickly with somebody who did accept me and saw my worth, like saw my value, saw what it was that I was able to do, right? And then and then I just found myself like feeling now in this new role that I had been concocting in my mind for some time, and it just clicked, you know? And so I went from thinking about it here on this timeline down here to doing enough work to match it, right? So now I'm like, shit, I'm here. Wait, I'm here, right? Is this kind of how it was? It was like snap, and then I woke up and, now I'm in alignment with the things that I had thought about, the role that I wanted to be playing and the client that I wanted to be, the type of clients that I wanted to be helping and serving. But I've never been here before, and if you've not, July's Frequency and Figure podcast with Dr. Valraitova and I absolutely I absolutely would, recommend going and checking that out because I said it on that podcast about this you've never been here before, like, where you're at and what you're experiencing, you've never experienced this in this lifetime before, or any of your lifetimes for that matter before, and you've never had these kind of people, you've never been treated like this before. It's like a whole lot of never haves beens, and I kinda called it the arriving to your heaven on earth, but, like, you're not at your tippy top peak highest timeline, but I would say you're in the top 3 now, right? Like you're stepping in the top 3, top 5, right? You're on your top 5 timelines now. And so this is what happened. I stepped into the top 5 timelines, fulfilling one of my top 5 roles, working with one of my top 5 personas of clientele. And it made me have to confront a lot of the things that I had just worked on really fast. And I was at the point of where I'm like, oh shit, now I gotta tell them my price. Now I gotta stand 10 toes on my price. And when I tell y'all, it felt like I was having a damn heart attack before I had sent the quote over. And it was like, okay, and here's all the things. I was so nervous and so afraid, and it felt so uncomfortable to send. I just looked at the what I was writing, and even though I had already done a lot of work to put together, the package that I was doing and the things and all the things to go into it, and even though I had been kind of unofficially already doing this, not just with this particular client or person, but even though I had already been doing the same things for years with other people, but I just never got paid what I was worth for it, you know? And so now I'm here at the point of okay, well, now you're with somebody who actually loves and values you enough and sees what it is that you're doing and sees what it is that you're capable of, and they want to invest in you. Like they're going to do the things. And it's like, what do you mean? It was so uncomfortable, and my heart felt like it was going to explode. I felt like I don't I it was the biggest panic attack that I'd ever had in my entire life. And I remember, and it's not often that I can hear all of my guides and squad members come through clear and loud, not loud, but enough for me to be like, "Oh, they're here." It's not often that they do it because most of the time they will tell me, "You got this, figure it out." type of situation. But because I was in such a panic, they were like, "You're just having a panic attack right now, and you just need to breathe through this and send it. And if they don't agree with it, then that's fine. And you can be like, well, that's fine. Well, we can take away something of this, or we can reduce doing this, that, or the third, but the price for what it is that you're offering still stands. Like you need to, but that was really hard for me. Nevertheless, I sent it and I did the things, but like I threw my phone after I sent it and I just walked away. I just walked away, but I did it and I got over the hurdle, and then I had to face the fear of rejection, right? And then so anybody who has ADHD, I'm sure you've heard of like having the, what do they call it? Rejection sensitive dysmorphia. And that's also really crippling because and that's exactly what I did. Like I went into like freeze mode and I just didn't do anything because I was having like a moment of feeling like, no, like they're gonna reject me and they're not gonna wanna X, Y, and Z, the spiral of thoughts. And then I had to come in and calm my nervous system, talk to my nervous system and reassure myself like, hey, it's all right. If they don't want to do that, then that's fine. And, it's not a reflection of me and my value and my worth. It's just not for them and they just don't want to do that. And I like calming myself down in the process. It was a really interesting thing to be active in real time active with myself in this process of working through such huge blocks, and realizing not just in this instant, but like looking back in the past of just how little I valued myself. And like that's like heartbreaking. I have been primed and used to being told no, or being told that I'm too much, or being told that you're asking too much, or you know what I'm saying? Like just essentially being chastised for existing, let alone having, spiritual gifts and abilities, let alone having these amazing things that I can do and offer for people, the way that I can impact and change the trajectory of somebody's life, let alone the ability of being able to take somebody who's down in the abyss and like throwing them into the I just was not at all thinking about how much of a positive impact and gift that I have been, like always, to people in their lives and still am. And it felt like I was being some sort of like self-absorbed, like just grimy kind of person for even thinking of myself that way. But that's the part there. Why? If you get to this point and or you have gotten to this point, you gotta question yourself that way as well. Why? And then after you go through the process of the why and understanding like, this seems like a me problem, and you get down to the bottom of whatever your why is for why you feel like you can't see yourself for the way that you truly are and not the way that other people have made you feel, then you can really start to do some work in dissecting and healing that, right? And yeah, it just was a very interesting experience to go through and experience. And like I said, I had thought that I had done a lot more work than I had up until I got to the point of where I had to create the package with everything that they wanted in it and scale, judge, accurately judge and convert my time and energy into money, right? And every time I would try to like make it lower, literally it would physically pain me. When I tell you, literally it was like, yeah, like I was like, oh. And I couldn't do it. And once I landed on a certain number for each of the things, I was like, is this it? Is this? But I could physically feel where I was shorting myself out of fear. And it resulted in the feeling of pain in my heart, right? It was like almost betrayal, heart betrayal, betraying myself, self betrayal of, now you know you worth more than that. Now you know it. Now come on now. And every time I didn't do it, it was like jab. So I sent the things, and then they they accepted it, and then that was a whole moment for me. And I was like, what? Really? Really? And then of course, really, because it's worth it. You're worth it. You're worth it. But your the limiting beliefs will have you thinking and have you doing a lot for a lot less than you deserve, or for free. Like, how long have a lot of us done a lot of stuff for free for so long and just been taken advantage of? Like, it's no more of that. And you have to be okay with that. You have to be okay with getting comfortable telling people your prices and being non-negotiable on the price. Like, if people want to reduce the price, then you're going to have to find a way to reduce the work. But don't you reduce your price, right? Like, don't short sell yourself. Like, your prices are your prices. If it's the total amount that they're having an issue with, then like cut back on the scale of things that you are going to do for them, right? But not don't cut back on your number. Like, your numbers need to stay your numbers. Whatever doesn't stab you in the heart personally for whatever your numbers are, and your numbers will change as you grow and evolve and change and level up. And I think that also needs to be mentioned, because again, like, it's a process. Your business and your prices and your clients should change and evolve and grow with you as you are changing and evolving and growing. That's normal. But just be okay with having to do the rebuild. Okay, but that's really all I wanted to talk about, was having this moment of having to confront my limiting beliefs and the poverty mindset, and thinking that I have to do everything for free, and that I can't charge what I'm meant to charge or should charge for the things that I'm offering and things that I'm doing for people, because X, Y, and Z, whatever those things are. I challenge you to please combat, confront, and dismantle all the limiting beliefs that you have around you, yourself, your business, your worth, whatever the case may be here, because you are worth it and you do deserve to have people around you, not just this, but like in romantic senses as well. The last couple of weeks has been like a really revealing sense, a really revealing time for me as well, around that, of not even just romantically, but like just with people in general, of being around and allowing people to have access to me, or just be in my life, who did not value me or did not put me as a priority, who did not think that I was worthy of their time, and the way that I would put up with a lot of things from people that it's not right. And so I had to combat a lot of those things as well. You deserve to be treated the way that you treat other people, however that is. Turnabout is fair play. If you're a really good person, you need to have other really good people around you. If you're a really shitty person, that's all yang. Turnabout is fair play. Turnabout is fair play. uh but don't devalue yourself by putting up with people's nonsense, and by lowering your standards just to have friends, or just to have people around, or just to feel like somebody wants you. Like, that's not the move. If people can't meet you where you're at, if people can't do the bare minimum to be a part of your life and to hold an equal friendship for you, then it's a dunzo. People will let you know where you stand in their life if you allow them to show you. And with that being said, thank you all for all your likes, shares, and subscribes and donations. And I look forward to seeing you guys on the next episode. Speak with you soon.